The massive alien ship appeared in Earth's orbit on a quiet Tuesday morning. Its sleek, crystalline surface reflected sunlight like a mirror in space, drawing the attention of every telescope and radar station on the planet. The Galactic Council had finally decided to make contact with humanity, though not out of genuine interest, rather out of bureaucratic necessity. Ambassador Gray stood on the bridge of his ship, his tall, silvery form reflecting the same crystalline sheen as the vessel itself. He looked down at the blue planet with barely hidden disdain. "Such primitive energy signatures," he muttered to his aide. "They're still burning fossil fuels. How quaint." The humans scrambled to organize a proper welcome committee. World leaders gathered in New York, chosen as the meeting point after hasty global discussions. The United Nations building buzzed with activity as delegates from every nation arrived, all trying to present a unified front to their cosmic visitors. Tom Baker, the UN Secretary General, worked tirelessly to coordinate the response. He was a practical man with graying hair and steady hands who had seen his fair share of crises, but nothing quite like this. "We need to show strength through unity," he told his staff, straightening his tie for the 100th time that morning. The alien delegation descended in a smaller ship that landed with impossible grace on the specially cleared area outside the UN building. Ambassador Gray emerged first, followed by his team of advisors. Their movements were fluid, almost liquid-like, and their environmental suits gleamed with technology that made Earth's most advanced gadgets look like children's toys. "Greetings, representatives of Earth," Ambassador Gray announced, his universal translator converting his musical language into plain English. "The Galactic Council has deemed your species developed enough for initial contact." The condescension in his tone was clear, even through the translation. During the first meeting, the aliens displayed holograms showing their vast empire. Thousands of worlds connected by faster-than-light travel, entire solar systems harnessed for energy, and technologies that seemed like magic to human eyes. But with each demonstration, the aliens' attitude grew more patronizing. "We can offer you assistance," Ambassador Gray said, displaying a contract in midair. "Simple technologies to help you advance. In exchange, we would only require access to your raw materials and some strategic locations for our outposts." He smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. General Roberts, the head of Earth's military committee, watched from his seat with narrowed eyes. A decorated veteran with decades of experience, he recognized a bad deal when he saw one. He exchanged glances with Dr. Miller, the chief scientific advisor, who sat quietly taking notes on a simple paper pad, something that made several alien delegates chuckle. "Your primitive methods of record-keeping are charming," one alien delegate remarked, pointing at Dr. Miller's notebook. "Perhaps we could provide you with proper data tablets as a sign of goodwill." The meetings continued for several days. Each session revealed more of the aliens' true intentions. They saw Earth as nothing more than a resource to be exploited, its people as backward children to be patted on the head and given shiny trinkets while the adults took what they wanted. But they hadn't noticed Dr. Miller's small smiles during their demonstrations, or the way General Roberts maintained his calm despite their insults. They hadn't realized that humans had a few surprises of their own. In their arrogance, the aliens missed the subtle signs, the confident posture of Earth's military leaders, the knowing looks between scientists, and the careful way certain topics were avoided in discussions. They were so convinced of their superiority that they never questioned why Earth's representatives seemed so calm in the face of such overwhelming technological disparity. As the first week of negotiations drew to a close, Ambassador Gray prepared a report to the Galactic Council. "The humans are primitive but tractable," he wrote. "Their technology is centuries behind ours. They will be easy to manage." Little did he know, in a secret facility deep within the Rocky Mountains, a team of scientists led by Dr. Miller was about to prove just how wrong that assessment was. The aliens had made a critical mistake. They had judged humanity's progress by what they could see on the surface, never wondering what might be hidden beneath. Deep within the Rocky Mountains, behind layers of security that didn't officially exist, Dr. Miller walked through the metal corridors of Project Prometheus. The facility hummed with energy, its walls lined with equipment that would make even the aliens' eyes widen, if they knew it existed. Status report, he called out as he entered the main laboratory. The room was massive, carved directly into the mountain. At its center stood a device that looked deceptively simple, a cube of dull gray metal suspended in a magnetic field. The latest test exceeded all expectations, sir, reported Bob White, his lead engineer. Bob was a stocky man with calloused hands and a mind sharper than any computer. He pulled up a holographic display, technology they had carefully kept hidden from their alien visitors. The quantum steel is responding perfectly to electrical currents. Watch this. On the screen, a video showed a bullet hitting the sheet of the metal. With one electrical charge, the bullet passed through as if the metal was air. With another charge, the bullet flattened and fell, unable to even scratch the surface. "It's ready," Dr. Miller said quietly, his voice filled with pride. "After 15 years of work, it's finally ready." The discovery had been accidental. During an experiment with quantum entanglement, they had noticed something strange. Certain materials found only on Earth behaved differently than physics said they should. It took years to understand why. Earth's unique magnetic field, combined with rare mineral deposits, created quantum effects impossible anywhere else in the galaxy. In another part of the facility, Linda Ford, the head of practical applications, was running durability tests. She fired up the forge, heating a sample of quantum steel to temperatures that would melt any known metal. The material didn't even glow. "Look at these readings," she called out to Dr. Miller as he entered her section. "When we apply the delta charge pattern, it becomes completely heat-resistant. Nothing we have can even mark it." The team had discovered that by sending specific electrical patterns through the metal, they could change its fundamental properties. It could become harder than diamond or as permeable as a hologram. It could conduct or insulate, reflect or absorb, all based on the electrical signals it received. In the testing chamber, John Cooper, the weapons specialist, was putting the final touches on their demonstration piece. It was a simple cube of quantum steel, small enough to fit in a pocket. "This little beauty," he said, patting it gently, "is going to change everything." Dr. Miller gathered his core team for a final briefing. "Tomorrow," he announced, "General Roberts will interrupt the alien trade negotiations. He'll invite them to a demonstration. That's when we show them what humanity is really capable of." "Do you think they'll try to steal it?" asked Linda, voicing the concern they all shared. "They can try," Dr. Miller smiled. "But the beauty of quantum steel is that it only works here on Earth. Something about our planet's unique properties makes it possible. They can take all the samples they want. Without our planet's specific conditions, it's just ordinary metal." The team worked through the night, preparing for the demonstration. They knew what was at stake. The aliens had come expecting to find a primitive species they could easily control. Instead, they would discover that humans had developed something their advanced civilization had never even imagined possible. In his office, Dr. Miller reviewed the security footage from the alien meetings. He watched their smug expressions as they showed off their technology, their barely concealed laughter at human achievements. Tomorrow, those expressions would change. "Send the final confirmation to General Roberts," he told his assistant. "Operation Prometheus is go." As the message was sent, Dr. Miller stood at the window of his underground office, looking at the artificial sky they'd created to make the facility feel less claustrophobic. Somewhere above, through layers of rock and security systems, the aliens were probably sleeping soundly, confident in their superiority. "Laugh while you can," he murmured. "Tomorrow, everything changes." The morning sun streamed through the UN building's windows as Ambassador Gray continued his presentation. His holographic display showed elaborate designs for basic space stations the aliens would generously help humans build. in exchange for merely total control of Earth's orbital space. And of course, the ambassador said with a thin smile, we would need to oversee all your manufacturing processes. Your primitive methods might damage the advanced materials we provide. That's when General Roberts stood up, his chair scraping against the floor with deliberate loudness. The old soldier's face remained perfectly neutral as he interrupted the alien speech. Ambassador Gray, he said, his voice carrying across the suddenly silent room. Before we continue these trade discussions, I believe it's time we showed you some of our own manufacturing capabilities. The alien's expression shifted to one of amusement. Your manufacturing capabilities. My dear General, we've already analyzed your industrial output. You're still using steel alloys we mastered thousands of years ago. Then you'll have no objection to a small demonstration. The General's eyes twinkled. We've prepared a testing ground just outside the city. All the council representatives are welcome to attend. Ambassador Gray exchanged glances with his advisors. They seemed to share a silent laugh. Very well, he said. We would be interested to see what you consider impressive manufacturing. An hour later, a convoy of vehicles arrived at a military testing range. Dr. Miller stood next to a simple table, on which sat an unremarkable gray cube about 6 inches across. Behind him were various weapons, from handguns to a small artillery piece. This, Dr. Miller said, picking up the cube, is what we call quantum steel. Ambassador Gray's aide scanned the cube with a hidden device. It appears to be a simple iron alloy, he reported, not bothering to hide his disdain. Would you like to test it? Dr. Miller asked, placing the cube on a stand. The aliens agreed, probably hoping to demonstrate just how primitive human technology was. One of their security officers stepped forward with an energy weapon, something they hadn't shown humans before, clearly brought to emphasize their superiority. Please, Dr. Miller gestured. Fire at will. The alien weapon hummed to life. A bolt of pure energy struck the cube and passed straight through it, hitting the reinforced wall behind. The aliens stared in shock. Interesting, isn't it? Dr. Miller smiled. He pressed a button on a small remote. Try again. The alien fired once more. This time, the energy bolt bounced off the cube, nearly hitting its shooter, who ducked just in time. Impossible, Ambassador Gray whispered. His composure cracked for the first time since arriving on Earth. Over the next hour, Dr. Miller demonstrated the quantum steel's capabilities. They shot it with everything from pistols to plasma weapons. They tried to scan it, to analyze it, to understand it. The cube either let attacks pass through harmlessly or became completely impenetrable, depending on the electrical signal it received. How? Ambassador Gray finally demanded. How did you develop this? This violates several laws of physics. Does it? Dr. Miller asked innocently. Or does it just violate the laws of physics as you understand them? The aliens huddled together, speaking rapidly in their own language. Their translator was deliberately turned off, but their agitation was clear. General Roberts stepped forward. Now then, Ambassador, shall we return to those trade negotiations? I believe we have some counter-proposals to discuss. The return journey was silent. The aliens kept staring at the cube, which Dr. Miller carried casually in his pocket. Their earlier condescension had vanished, replaced by a mixture of fear and desperate curiosity. As they reached the UN building, Ambassador Gray finally spoke again. The Council will want to know how you achieved this. I'm sure they will, General Roberts replied calmly. Just as I'm sure you'll want to reconsider the terms of our potential partnership. The message was clear. Humanity wouldn't be pushed around. They had cards to play that the aliens hadn't even known existed. The game had changed, and everyone knew it. In his pocket, Dr. Miller's cube hummed quietly, its impossible properties a testament to human ingenuity, and a warning to those who would underestimate Earth. The Galactic Council's emergency meeting chamber buzzed with tension. Representatives from 100 alien species gathered to discuss what they'd witnessed on Earth. Ambassador Gray stood at the center, his usually perfect posture slightly stooped from exhaustion. "Show us again," demanded the council leader, a being of pure energy contained within a crystalline shell. The holographic recording played once more, the cube of quantum steel defying every known law of physics. "Our best scientists have analyzed the data," Ambassador Gray reported. "The metal appears to shift its atomic structure in response to electrical signals, but the process should be impossible. It violates fundamental principles of matter." Meanwhile, back on Earth, Dr. Miller was conducting another demonstration, this time for a select group of human leaders. The lab's main testing chamber had been converted into a presentation room. "What you're about to see," he announced, "will explain why the aliens can't replicate our discovery." He activated a large display showing Earth's magnetic field, but with new, previously undetected patterns woven through it. "These quantum resonance waves are unique to Earth," he explained. "They're created by the interaction between our planet's core, certain rare mineral deposits, and our specific position in the solar system. Without these exact conditions, quantum steel is just ordinary metal." In orbit, alien scientists frantically studied Earth's magnetic field, trying to understand what they'd missed. Their instruments detected the quantum resonance waves for the first time, sending their theories into chaos. Back in the council chamber, the demands grew heated. "They must be forced to share this technology," shouted one representative. "We should quarantine their system," suggested another. "They're too dangerous to allow into the galactic community." Ambassador Gray raised his hand for silence. "There's more," he said grimly. "We've detected unusual energy signatures from multiple locations on Earth. They've been hiding their true technological level from us since first contact." The revelation hit the council like a physical blow. They had approached Earth as superior beings offering guidance to primitives. Now they realized they'd been outplayed. Dr. Miller walked through his facility, passing new projects that would soon shock the aliens even further. Quantum steel was just the beginning. Understanding the unique properties of Earth's quantum field had opened doors they were only starting to explore. "Sir," called out Linda Ford, running up with a tablet, "the aliens are requesting another meeting. They're offering, well, everything. Technology, star maps, weapons. They want quantum steel." Dr. Miller smiled. "Tell them we're happy to demonstrate more applications of our discovery. But the technology itself, that stays on Earth." In his private chamber, the council leader reviewed the situation with his most trusted advisors. "We mishandled this completely," he admitted. "We assumed our age made us superior. We forgot that younger races might see things we've missed." A junior scientist nervously approached with another report. "Sir, we found something else. The humans, they're still advancing. The quantum resonance waves they're using, they're learning to manipulate them. If they master that." The implications were staggering. Earth wasn't just a planet that happened to have unique properties. It was a laboratory that had produced a species uniquely adapted to understand and harness those properties. General Roberts sat in a meeting with world leaders, explaining the new reality. "The aliens won't try to bully us anymore," he said, "but they will try to study us. To understand how we did this, we need to be careful about what we reveal and when." Dr. Miller stood in his lab that evening, holding a small cube of quantum steel. Such a simple-looking thing, but it had changed humanity's place in the galaxy forever. He thought about all the other projects hidden in various facilities around the world, waiting for the right moment to be revealed. "We've got their attention," he murmured to himself. "Now let's show them what humanity can really do." In the depths of space, the alien ships orbiting Earth watched and waited, their crews struggling with a new and uncomfortable emotion. Fear of what else these supposedly primitive humans might have discovered. The balance of power had shifted, and everyone knew this was just the beginning. Everything changed in the weeks following the quantum steel revelation. Ships from dozens of alien species began appearing in Earth's orbit, bypassing the Galactic Council's authority. Each wanted to establish direct diplomatic relations with humanity. Dr. Miller watched from his office window as another alien delegation landed in the newly constructed diplomatic complex outside Denver. This group had green, scale-like skin and moved with a fluid grace that suggested an aquatic origin. "That's the fourth species this week," General Roberts noted, standing beside him. "They're all trying to curry favor now." The facility had expanded rapidly. New wings sprouted from the mountain like steel and glass branches, each dedicated to different aspects of quantum steel research. But more importantly, each contained carefully controlled demonstrations of human technology. "Have you seen the latest council proposal?" Linda Ford asked, entering with a data tablet. "They're offering us seats on every major scientific committee. Quite a change from calling us primitives." In orbit, Ambassador Gray's replacement, Ambassador Stone, watched the parade of foreign ships with growing concern. The Council's influence was slipping. Species that had been loyal for millennia were now making independent overtures to Earth. "We need to understand how they did it," he muttered, reviewing the latest failed attempt to replicate quantum steel off-world. His scientists had tried everything, even manufacturing the metal in spaces with artificially generated magnetic fields. Nothing worked. Down in the main laboratory, Dr. Miller led a delegation from one of the younger spacefaring races through a carefully planned tour. Unlike the older species, these aliens showed genuine curiosity rather than desperate greed. "The secret," he explained, "isn't just in the metal. It's in understanding how to work with natural phenomena rather than trying to dominate them. Earth taught us that." The young aliens absorbed this lesson eagerly, taking notes and asking intelligent questions. They hadn't yet developed the arrogance of the older races. In the Galactic Council's emergency session chamber, chaos reigned. Representatives argued bitterly about how to handle the rapid shift in power dynamics. "We should have seen this coming," one elder member admitted privately. "We've been stagnant for too long, convinced we knew everything worth knowing." Meanwhile, Earth's diplomatic position strengthened daily. The humans carefully shared certain discoveries, enough to prove they had more to offer, but never enough to give away their core advantages. General Roberts coordinated with military leaders worldwide as Earth's first true space fleet took shape. Ships built with quantum steel hulls were nearly invincible, able to shrug off weapons that would have vaporized conventional vessels. "We're not seeking to dominate," he assured nervous alien observers. "We just want to ensure our independence." In his private laboratory, Dr. Miller made another breakthrough. He stared at the test results in amazement, then quickly secured them in the facility's most protected vault. Some discoveries weren't ready to be shared. Not yet. Linda Ford supervised the construction of Earth's first major off-world facility on the Moon. The base's walls shimmered with quantum steel, adjusting their properties automatically to protect against radiation and micrometeorites. "The aliens still don't understand," she told her team. "They keep trying to replicate our results instead of looking for their own world's unique properties." Ambassador Stone made one final attempt to restore the Council's authority. He offered Earth everything: unlimited access to alien technology, leadership positions, even veto power over Council decisions. Dr. Miller's response was polite but firm. "We appreciate the offer, but Earth will chart its own course. We're happy to cooperate as equals, nothing more, nothing less." As the sun set over the Rocky Mountains, Dr. Miller stood in his favorite observation room. Below him, teams of humans and aliens worked together, learning from each other. The younger races had adapted quickly, eager to learn Earth's approach to science. The power shift wasn't just political, it was philosophical. Earth had shown the galaxy that there were still fundamental mysteries to be solved, new ways of thinking to be explored. And in the depths of space, other worlds waited, each with their own unique properties, their own lessons to teach. If only someone was willing to listen and learn. 6 months after the quantum steel revelation, Earth's first major starship prepared for its maiden voyage. The vessel gleamed in the sunlight, its hull rippling with subtle patterns as the quantum steel adjusted to various space conditions. The Freedom, Dr. Miller said proudly, watching the final preparations from the lunar observation deck. The ship was massive, yet more advanced than anything the Galactic Council had ever built. Its hull could become transparent for observation, impenetrable for defense, or energy-absorbing for faster-than-light travel. In the ship's control room, Captain Mark Wilson ran through the final checks. His crew was a mix of humans and younger alien species who had allied themselves with Earth. They worked seamlessly together, each bringing unique perspectives to space travel. "Hull integrity at 100%, reported his first officer. Quantum steel responding perfectly to all test signals. The launch drew observers from across the galaxy. Thousands of ships filled Earth's orbit, their crews watching as humanity took its first real step into deep space. The older council races kept their distance, clustering together at the edges of the solar system. Ambassador Stone observed from his flagship, his expression unreadable. The council had tried to restrict human expansion through bureaucratic measures, only to find the regulations meaningless against quantum steel technology. "They're incorporating it into everything," his aide reported. "Ships, stations, colonies. We can't compete." Down on Earth, in the expanded mountain facility, Linda Ford supervised the next generation of innovations. Quantum steel was just the beginning. They had learned to adapt the technology in ways that made the aliens' most advanced achievements look primitive. "Look at these readings," she called to Dr. Miller, who had returned from the lunar base. "We found a way to use quantum steel to enhance communication systems. No more lag in deep space transmissions." The Galactic Council held another emergency session. The topic, how to handle Earth's rapid advancement. "They're building colonies faster than we can track them," one representative reported. "The quantum steel lets them establish outposts in environments we considered impossible to inhabit." "And worse," another added, "they're sharing their methodologies with the younger races. Not the technology itself, but the scientific principles. More worlds are discovering their own unique properties." The Freedom's maiden voyage proved more successful than anyone had imagined. The ship could travel faster, defend itself better, and explore more dangerous regions than any vessel in history. Captain Wilson stood on his bridge, watching a neutron star up close through the transparent hull. The quantum steel protected them from radiation that would have instantly vaporized conventional ships. "Send the data back to Earth," he ordered. "Let's show them what this ship can really do." Dr. Miller received the transmission in his new office, which overlooked a valley now filled with research facilities. Teams of scientists from Earth and allied younger races worked together, each discovering new applications for their world's unique properties. "We're not just advancing ourselves," he told General Roberts during their weekly meeting. "We're changing how the galaxy thinks about scientific progress." The general nodded, reviewing reports from Earth's expanding sphere of influence. The council races are starting to panic. They've lost 3 trade agreements this week alone. Nobody wants their outdated technology anymore. In orbit, Ambassador Stone received new orders from the council. They were finally accepting reality. Earth couldn't be controlled or contained. The best they could hope for was to maintain diplomatic relations. Linda Ford celebrated another breakthrough with her team. They had found a way to use quantum steel to create sustainable ecosystems on barren worlds. "Think of it," she told her colleagues, "we can transform uninhabitable planets into homes." As the day ended, Dr. Miller stood at his window one last time. The valley below buzzed with activity even at night. Earth had changed forever, and with it, the galaxy. The Freedom continued its journey through space, its quantum steel hull adapting to each new challenge. It carried with it humanity's message to the stars: underestimate us at your peril. And in the depths of space, the older races watched and worried, knowing their age of dominance was over. 5 years after the discovery of quantum steel became public, Earth had transformed from an overlooked world to the center of a new galactic alliance. The Alliance of Progressive Worlds, as it was called, brought together Earth and the younger spacefaring races in a partnership of equals. Dr. Miller, now serving as Earth's chief scientific advisor, stood before a gathering of representatives from 20 different worlds. The conference hall, built with advanced applications of quantum steel, allowed species from vastly different environments to meet comfortably in the same space. Each world has its secrets, he explained to the gathered delegates. Earth had its quantum resonance waves. Your worlds have their own unique properties waiting to be discovered. In orbit, the Freedom returned from its 100th mission, joined by a fleet of similar ships. Each vessel incorporated not just Earth's quantum steel, but innovations from a dozen member worlds. Together, they had pushed the boundaries of space exploration beyond anything the Galactic Council had achieved in millennia. Captain Wilson, his hair now streaked with gray, welcomed a new crew of cadets aboard. Remember, he told them, we're not here to dominate. We're here to learn and share knowledge. The old Galactic Council watched from the sidelines as their influence continued to fade. Their rigid hierarchy and assumptions of superiority had cost them their position in galactic affairs. One by one, their member worlds were approaching the Alliance, seeking new partnerships. Linda Ford led a team of mixed-species scientists on a research station orbiting Jupiter. They had discovered that each planet in the solar system had its own unique properties, leading to new breakthroughs in science and technology. Look at this, she said, showing Dr. Miller their latest discovery. Jupiter's magnetic field has properties we never imagined. The aliens didn't find it because they never thought to look. On Earth, the mountain facility had grown into a sprawling scientific academy. Students from across the galaxy came to learn not just about quantum steel, but about Earth's approach to science and discovery. General Roberts, now retired but still active as an advisor, watched young aliens and humans working together in the labs. We did more than change technology, he told Dr. Miller. We changed how people think. In deep space, the former Ambassador Gray, now a private citizen, visited one of Earth's new colonies. The sight of humans living comfortably on a world his people had deemed uninhabitable made him finally understand his species' greatest mistake. We thought age brought wisdom, he admitted to Dr. Miller during a chance meeting. Instead, it brought complacency. The Alliance grew stronger each year. Every member world contributed its unique discoveries, creating technologies that worked in harmony with natural laws rather than trying to overcome them. Earth's approach to science spread throughout the galaxy. The idea that each world, each species, each corner of space might hold unknown properties revolutionized research and exploration. Dr. Miller spent his final years teaching at the academy. He watched with pride as each new generation pushed the boundaries further, finding new applications for quantum steel and discovering new principles of physics. The galaxy hasn't gotten smaller, he told his students. It's gotten more mysterious, more wonderful. That's the greatest gift we could have given to civilization. The Freedom, now a training vessel, continued to carry new explorers into space. Its quantum steel hull had been enhanced with discoveries from a dozen worlds, making it more capable than ever. Captain Wilson stood on his bridge one last time before retirement, watching Earth shrink behind him. We thought we were behind, he mused. In reality, we were just taking a different path. As the new era dawned, humanity found itself in an unexpected role. Not conquerors, not subjects, but teachers. They taught others to look at their worlds with fresh eyes, to question assumptions, to seek the extraordinary in the ordinary. And somewhere in the galaxy, on a world not yet known to Earth, another species looked up at the stars and wondered what secrets their planet might hold. The age of discovery had truly begun. Dr. Miller's original cube of quantum steel sat in a museum display, a simple object that had changed everything. Beside it, a plaque read, "Look closer, question everything. The universe has more to teach us." The new era had begun, and it belonged to those who were willing to learn.